Hi guys. So today's video is about the question of whether or not authors quote-unquote owe us. What I mean by this question is, do authors owe it to their fans to get their books out? Do they owe it to readers to get their books out in a timely manner? If so, what's considered a timely manner? What are your guys' opinions on this? I just thought it'd be really fun to sit down and chat about this because I have seen lots of very opposing viewpoints to it, and sometimes they're rational, sometimes they're extremely irrational, and so I thought maybe sit down and have a little chit chat. I think many of us are very familiar with this idea in the fantasy genre because two of the biggest names in fantasy, George R. R. Martin and Patrick Rothfuss, it's been about what, 7 or 8 years since they've put out the last book in the series that they've written. Some people are very respectful of those authors taking as much time as they need. They kind of say things like, it's a creative art and it's a creative profession. We can't rush it. It's going to come out when it comes out. We'll get it when it comes out and we'll be content and happy in the meantime. Then you get people who have the complete opposite view and they say things like, how is it possible? This is your job. This is what you're supposed to do. I don't get it. I have to go to work every day. Isn't this what you should be doing every day? Going along with this, I saw an article once, and I will try really hard to find it and post it for you guys down below because I found it very entertaining, and I'm sure you guys will as well. But this person, quite politely, quite nicely, asked popular, well-known author Neil Gaiman about George R. R. Martin and said, do you think, basically what I'm outlining in this video, do you think that he owes it to his fans? Do you think that we have a right to maybe feel a little anxious about the fact that it's been so long? And Neil Gaiman's reply, the first part of his reply, because he left a very lengthy one, the very first sentence was, George R. R. Martin is not your B word. The rest of the article says something along the lines of, yeah, get over it. So what if he doesn't have a book out yet? He doesn't work for you and he has the right to have his own life. He's not your employee. He owes you nothing. Go read other books in the meantime. I get that, but this is their profession. This is their job. And if you're a traditionally published author, you definitely owe the publishing company. With traditionally published books, you are agreeing to provide something to this company, and in turn, this company is going to help advertise, they're going to pay you, they're going to have editing teams to make sure that the work is good, so that allows you more time to write because the editing team is going to help take care of the editing portion of it. So while I don't think they per se owe us, the readers, just because we're like, oh, I want more, because we love their stories, right? That's why we want more. While I don't necessarily think they owe us, I do think they owe the people that they signed a contract with. Now, I don't actually know what the contracts say for any individual authors, which is why, while I mentioned George R. R. Martin and Patrick Rothfuss, I'm not referencing just those individuals. It's just those are the ones most people know about. But I haven't seen those guys' I haven't seen their contracts, so, you know, and even if I had, I'm not gonna sit and be like, how dare you, or whatever, because they're human beings, and I know they're human beings, and it just so happens that they have a profession that we all get to have an opinion about. How many of us in our everyday lives, besides our coworkers and our boss, are like publicly being shamed if we don't do our job to what those people's standards are? Could you imagine? I feel like that would be so stressful. I know for me personally, many of you know I'm a private violin teacher. Booktube is not my profession. I teach people of all age private violin lessons, and I on occasion think to myself, how would I feel if like my professor that I studied with when I was in college, if he was sitting like right there? Or how would I feel if my music education professor were having this videotaped and she was going to review it later? And I would just, sometimes I have these thoughts while I'm teaching, and it does push me to implement the things I learned from those individuals and not fall into a rut, to always try to better myself and think about what they would be telling me. But that's just in my head. I don't actually have like thousands and thousands of people, millions sometimes, shoving their opinions at me via Twitter or some form of social media. But while I never really appreciate the mob mentality on the internet of people just all being angry together, I can kind of see the idea of, hey, this is your job. Can you do it? I think what I do really appreciate personally is when authors, they don't by any means need to tell us what's going on in their personal lives or why it's taking them a while to get a book out, but I do appreciate when authors update people. That was something I think that the individual who asked Neil Gaiman, I think he brought up, you know, do you think George R. R. Martin should disclose updates for us and stuff like that? I personally appreciate that. I don't think it takes so much time out of an author's writing to go online once a year, once every 6 months, or have some staff member, if they're a big enough author. I don't think it takes up a ton of time to just be like, hey, let readers know this is what's going on. Let them know if there's going to be the due date pushed back. You know, they don't have to say a lot of personal information, but I do respect when they're willing to let us know, hey, this is what's going down. There are a couple authors who do this. One would be Brandon Sanderson. You guys know I'm a big Sanderson fan, and he has a yearly update where he tells you the man is a working machine. First off, he puts a ton of books out, whether or not you like them or not, whatever. That's not this discussion, but he puts out a lot every year. He works like crazy, and at the end of the year, he always puts out something updating people on projects, letting them know projected release dates, things like that. Another author who comes to mind is Cora Carmack. She wrote the book Roar. It's a young adult fantasy book, and she discovered that she has some medical problems, and she's been pretty open about it, which I think is pretty scary to do, and she didn't have to tell anybody anything. Nobody has to tell anybody about their medical problems, but she did, and she let them know. The publishing company has been really understanding. You all have been incredibly supportive. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to kick butt, and I'm going to try to write when I can, even though I'm going through all of these medical issues. People, of course, handle things in different ways, though. Not everybody who is struggling with something is comfortable letting everybody know, letting all their fans know, even if their fans are generally really nice and supportive individuals. Some people aren't going to feel comfortable letting the world know, oh yeah, like someone I loved passed away and now I'm struggling with depression, or something. Like, they're not comfortable. And when you have a job that's not to pick on any average job, but if you have a more typical job and you go in, you crunch some numbers, or you have to fill out some paperwork or things like that, a lot of times that's so monotonous. It's not like it's coming from your heart, where with writing, for a lot of those people, it is coming from their heart. It's coming from a very different place than, you know, filling out some forms. That said, not every author who has a hard time meeting deadlines is going through anything. Sometimes it could just be time management. And in those cases, I mean, I'm not going to know personally if that's what's going on. But in those cases, if I did know what was going on, while I wouldn't publicly shame them, in my head or when I'm talking to my husband, I'd be like, can they get it together? So there's definitely a lot of factors that play into the idea of whether or not authors owe us. I think for me personally, I go back and forth from being completely sympathetic and understanding and being like, oh, it's a human and they're going through tough times and like, take all the time you need. And then other times I'm like, hey, I go to work when stuff is tough. Why can't you? Anyway, I just thought this would be an interesting topic to chat with you guys about. Let me know if you guys have thoughts on this. If you have any other chatty topics that you would like me to do videos for, let me know that in the comment section down below. But if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and check out some more of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.